Hi, my name is John Washkevitz, and I'm the head propagator here at Wanczyk Nursery. This is a now third-generation family-run nursery here in Hadley, Massachusetts. We've been in business for 66 years, and I've been on the job for 29 of those years. So since we're growers here at Wanczyk Nursery, a lot of our propagation is in-house wherever possible. And one of our most important crops is this plant called Mackie, Daphne, which has wonderful fragrant flowers. So we do these as a summer cutting. I go out to the field and harvest cuttings like this, strip off the bottom, create a little bit of a wound there, dip this in a liquid rooting hormone, and then this goes into a bench filled with perlite with intermittent mist. And then in about 4 weeks' time, we have a rooted cutting, which then gets potted up, goes out to the field the following year. Another super important crop to us are various Arborvitae, which are used as privacy screens or individual specimens in the landscape. And again, that's something we raise from our own cuttings. I would typically go out to the field in November, harvest individual cuttings like this, strip off the bottom leaf that creates a little bit of a wound. We dip it in our liquid rooting hormone, and then that goes into a greenhouse bench filled with sand with gentle bottom heat for the winter, and then by spring we have a rooted plant. This is a from cutting 1-year-old plant. This is about 3 years old. We also do many other deciduous plants, that is to say plants, shrubs that drop their leaves for the winter. Ornamental shrubs from cuttings, such as this very colorful winterberry. And during the summer I will go through harvest cuttings from this, and we root them in our typical way, liquid rooting hormone, and then it goes into the greenhouse bench. And then in about a year's time we have this already gorgeous specimen, which we will then grow up into a few different container sizes, and homeowners or landscapers will choose the size that best fits their needs. So while we try to grow as much as we can ourselves, we can't do everything. So some things it's just easier to buy in a finished plant like this limelight hydrangea or this brandywine viburnum. These two cultivars are patented cultivars, and if we wanted to grow those ourselves from our own cuttings, we would need special licensing, special paperwork, we would need to pay royalties, all of that. And it's just a simpler process to buy in the finished plant. We don't need to spend years and years taking care of this. We can bring in a beautiful plant, the customers come and buy it, and it's less time and effort at our end. So this hydrangea, which we have purchased and is container grown, we know what soil mixture we use, but different nurseries from which we buy other items may use totally different mixtures. And also you can see this wants to get in the ground sooner than later. The root system is really starting to fill the pot, and so if I were taking this home and planting this in my own garden, I would want to scarify or break up this outer root mass to get things going in the right direction. Another reason we buy in certain categories of items is places like Oregon have a more favorable growing season, and they can achieve a saleable plant much sooner than we can, and it's a lusher plant to start out with, such as this Cyadopetus or umbrella pine or this paperbark maple. So one of the ways we can propagate plants that are named cultivars, where we want the characteristics to be the same generation after generation, is through grafting. And we would do that with things such as Japanese maples and also ornamental conifers. So this is a winter project. I would go out to my stock plant, harvest dormant wood, have my understock here, make an incision, splice that in, wrap it, and over the course of the winter those cells will fuse. And the thing is, this cultivar will always be the same. It's going to be the same generation after generation. So another way we propagate plants here is by division. This is a daylily plant, and they multiply very rapidly. It's a source almost of free plants. So we would typically take this out of the pot, divide it in half or quarters or whatever we want to do. It's got a very fleshy root system, and then I can just repot that, and we have 2 plants for the where we originally had 1. So another way we propagate new plants here is by seed, and this is what is called a Metasequoia or Dawn Redwood. There is a famous elderly specimen of it next to the Nielsen Library on campus, and I have raised these from seed. These were sown this year. It's a little baby. This is 1 year later, and then this is 1 year after that, and these are from the time of the dinosaurs, just about. So while seed-grown nursery material is going to give you great genetic diversity, a chance for something to be faster or smaller growing or better or worse foliage color, when we're doing things from cuttings, pretty much these clones are going to be genetically identical, and there are good or bad points to that. They will have predictable coloration, predictable bloomability, predictable berry set. But at the same point, if you have a genetic monoculture, if there's a new pest introduced, for instance, it can wipe out an entire category of plants. So typically, as we're raising nursery stock in at least container-grown material, we fertilize it with this time-release fertilizer. The brand name is Osmocote, and it is these different time-release pellets which last for so many months, depending on temperature and the amount of rain we get. So this time-release Osmocote fertilizer is what you would call chemical or inorganic fertilizer, which is more economical to use in a nursery setting. In a home garden, one would obviously want to use good things like compost or organic fertilizers. So we are growing nursery stock here through many stages. There's always a different target sizes that are needed. So this is a 1-year-old green giant Arborvitae cutting. It's already got a good healthy root system. This will plant this size will go out into the field next spring. Just a few short years after that, we can dig it at this size, or a few years after that, this size. We will also do a small number in container culture. But it's a very fast turnover and great use of our fields. On this cultivar alone in a given year, I will do root approximately 10,000 cuttings. They will go out to our fields, and then we will sell probably a few thousand of each variety, both here at the retail and wholesale nursery, and then send them out by trailer loads to nurseries all over New England. So this is some freshly dug nursery stock from our 80 acres of fields. These Arborvitae were dug yesterday. These are some larger specimens. And then the crew here on this next trailer has some younger stuff, so we're trying to offer things in a variety of sizes. There's something for everybody. So since we are a nursery as opposed to a business that is buying in finished plants, we are trying to grow our trees from start to finish. So this is a young seedling red maple, and we want to give it as fibrous of a root system as possible. This special new type of root maker pot is giving us a very fibrous root system, many roots, and the healthier the root system at a young age, the healthier the root system at a older and saleable age. So from this point, a young sapling this age goes out to the field. We have approximately 80 acres of land within a 2-mile radius, and something this size would stay in the field for 6 to 7 years, and this is the finished product which we dig with a machine. So there is an implement on the front of the tractor, goes around the tree, and 3 blades go in and create this tapered, almost strawberry-shaped root ball. So when we dig these trees, they are then placed in a burlap-lined wire cage, which helps keep the root system intact. We don't want it to fall apart and become mushy, and that way it is able to be set up in a nursery setting. The burlap we use is 100% biodegradable, so that is not impacting the environment adversely. It will rot away very quickly underground. When this is set up on display here at the nursery location, these are lined up in rows by variety, and we have them on drip irrigation here, so we can get water right to the root zone where it needs the water, as opposed to wetting the trunk or wetting the foliage or anything like that.